Well, welcome, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to see me. So, what brings you here today?
Looking for, try to help myself get better, me and my boyfriend get better, learn about myself and how to handle things.
Okay. Now, I already had a session with your boyfriend, so we'll be showing these side by side eventually. On your side of things, in what ways do you feel that you could improve your relationship with him?
Treat him better, understand what he's going through, learn how to handle it, because sometimes I just can't handle it and I shut down.
When you say handle it, what do you mean exactly?
Well, with his mental disability, sometimes he'll just freak out on me and just go nuts on me. I don't know how to handle it, so I just back down or shut off or walk away, and it makes things worse.
Gotcha. Well, I've found in a lot of good relationships, the biggest factor is having really good communication skills. So that sounds like what you're talking about, developing maybe better communication skills. Are there things, before your partner freaks out or goes crazy on you, as you say, are there things that happen before that point, before it gets to that point?
Yeah, there's always things that go before that point, but major one is drugs. If he uses anything, he'll freak out on me. I know I don't handle it the way I'm supposed to handle it, everybody tells me to handle it, but I don't want to lie to him and placate him or whatever, and people tell me that's what I'm supposed to do, but I don't want to do that. I've never done that in the last 7 years, so I'm stuck there. And I can't really, every time I try to talk to him, it just gets wound up in that cycle or whatever, and so I just learned to shut down and
Gotcha.
let him do what he's going to do for a minute, and then he'll calm down after a while.
Well, what I'd like to do is I gave your partner a program to follow. I'm going to give you pretty much the same thing to both get your emotions under control first. And then what I'd like to do once you've gone through that phase is bring you back and do a conflict resolution session where we talk about what each of your goals are for the relationship and come to new agreements. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the first thing and biggest thing, I think, is managing our own emotions. You're not responsible for his emotions. You're only responsible for your own.
Right.
But when you say you shut down, that to me tells me that you're not actually in touch or able to communicate about your own emotions. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily going to teach you how to communicate about your emotions in this session. First, I'm going to teach you how to take control over them and make them your emotions. So nobody can push your buttons except you.
Right.
And I told the same thing to him, you're not responsible for his emotions. You can only control yourself. But a lot of people don't even think that they can control their own emotions. I've had people come through the doors and they're like, well, no, I have to feel this way. Well, that's not technically true. I did a workshop several years ago where the facilitator had, 5 different people come up out of the audience and said, okay, I'm going to tell you something I found out, and I want you to give me your first your instinctive reaction, whatever it is. And so he told them, well, I found out your significant other cheated on you. What's your initial response to that? And, there's 5 different people, 5 totally different responses.
Right.
One got angry, one got sad, one got, vindictive. One was just like, oh, well, I'm done with that fool, like, not even mad, just like, well, I guess I deserve better. So there are many different ways that we can respond to anything, any kind of stimuli, whether it's an event, circumstance, another person, whatever. We can choose. But the thing is, what most people don't realize, in fact, as far as I'm aware, I'm the only person teaching this particular way, is that our emotions are actually addictive. It's better to say that we're habituated. In other words, it's not something that we consciously crave, but our body does, because each emotion creates a chemical reaction in our body. So, for example, stress releases cortisol. Happiness releases a combination of dopamine and serotonin. Each emotion has its own unique chemical makeup. So, while we may not be consciously knowing what we're doing, our body is craving that chemical release that we're habituated to, and our subconscious will find ways to get that release without us even being aware of it.
Right.
So we become used to feeling, say for example, stressed out. We will find ways to continue to feel stressed out, whether it's interpreting a circumstance a certain way, or whatever types of things stress you out. So my first question for you is, what is your normal, habitual, or emotional state? Like, what emotion do you feel the most often?
Who cares?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, move on, like, just forget about it, or just being completely crazy and talking shit just for the fun of talking shit.
So how would you characterize that? Like, you described actions or a mindset, but
just like feeling happy all the time, or just completely unavailable, like just forget about it, don't even think about it, don't have any feelings towards it, just move on. Because over the last 7 years I've learned to do that, because I have no other recourse. I've tried being happy, I've tried being mad, I've tried being irritated, I've tried being vindictive, I've tried being an asshole, I've tried all of it. And no matter what I do, it ends up the same way. Like, the argument ends up the same way. The next day it starts over, like it's not even there.
Gotcha.
The only thing I found that works is to walk away and just ignore it, like completely ignore the situation. Because no matter what I say, how I say it, it gets rolled up into that scenario in his head.
Well, in that case, maybe you don't need the emotional management part so much as you need to learn better communication skills and strategies in conjunction with him. I think that would probably be more effective than me trying to sit outside the box, so to speak, and say what to do or say, because I haven't seen that dynamic, if that makes sense.
Right.
Want me to ask and see if he'd be down to do the communication stuff right now, or
it's all right to me.
'Cause I'm losing all doubt and fear when I'm